Look at the website of the International Budget Project, and you see their efforts all over the world, capacity building, training, where civil society and also migrants who go back to their own countries could play a role in that. The last point I want to mention is if it's true that we can't trust governments to achieve the MDGs, then we need to look at other ways to achieve them. And one way, I think, is that we could do that in the north and we could do that in the south, to live our lives differently, to spend, when we go to supermarkets, when we go to countries, to visit countries as a tourist, when we buy shoes, when we use sport equipment, we can be more responsible in how we do that. And in the Netherlands there is a very interesting initiative called Fair Food, which is, I think, more promising and actually going beyond the efforts, like the very good efforts, by the way, of fair trade organizations like Max Havelaar and many ethical consumers efforts. But Fair Food has the advantage that it targets actually normal Dutch people and normal supermarket products. And what they actually do, very short, is they assess all the supermarket products. They come to an average, and every product that is beyond average on ILO criteria, not using child labor, these kind of things that we all agree about. Every above average product is promoted. Like a product like appelsientje, you find at every supermarket, is performing very well. So if you have to choose between appelsientje and other juices, then buy appelsientje. And if you do that in a more, now it looks very. I think this is possible if we manage to also in a smarter way inform people more broadly about this. And it's very simple. What you do is actually also name and shame those entrepreneurs, those companies that are not reaching the average. There are companies that don't want to collaborate with this. They are on a blacklist. And there are companies that are not transparent, they are on a grey list. And they don't like that. They're already performing better and try to perform better and try to become above average with their products. And this is a less ambitious ethical consumption approach than the bit elitist Max Havelaar and fair trade efforts. And I think it's very promising. And I'm involved one day in a week, aside my Oxfam Novib work, in a project to digitalize and to make this. For instance, it would be great if you have on your display, on your supermarket little car, an indication this is a good product in this sense and this not. So we need to make it much easier also for people to become informed about these things. Okay, this is something we can do everywhere, both in northern countries and southern countries, and what we try to export this also to the rest of Europe and to bigger markets in the south. I hope that together with migrant organizations we can do these three things in a much better way than we have been doing this in the past, and name and shame the governments who are not complying in that way, and forcing them to also to perform better. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ted. Now, it is when I heard about MDGs a couple of years ago, and somebody told me, yeah, they talk about MDGs, but they did not include migration in the analysis, and never mentioned about the role of migrants or what migrants will be contribution to MDGs. And while they're talking to account the government for their commitment to development aid and ask about the private sector to the FDI, now they're talking about remittances in terms of a the amount sent to the home countries is 3 times more the ODA and was 2 times more than the FDI. And now how are we thinking about how do your remittances, what is the role of remittances in the MDGs? Does that help, does it not help, and why not, and where we failed, and what should be done? I think the whole day, the rest of the afternoon, we will discuss about that. If indeed remittances are higher than the FDI, higher than the ODA, why is it there are still poor families of migrants? Something wrong somewhere happened with the sending of the money. And while it increased the education, increased the health, but there's still a lot of skeptical people saying, but remittances are really private, you cannot account that in the development. I think that would be an interesting discussion today. Now, I have to make a very hard